All right, I wanted to talk about in this video a couple of ideas, a couple of philosophical ideas, and then transition into uh, the item in question, or a couple items in question, especially in combination with one another. But basically, um, there are items out there that whenever you see the info subs when they're released, they're intriguing. You get them. Um, Sometimes you get them because maybe you thought it was going to end up better than it was, but sometimes I really think, philosophically speaking, if an item comes out, I think every player should ask themselves, um, you know, could this item one day be better if certain other items eventually get made or certain other effects? And then whenever that happens, um, it kind of becomes a fulfilling purchase of the item, whether it's gold or golden gift box or package or whatnot. But so I wanted to talk about that, and then also wanted to talk about this sort of philosophical idea. I think that a lot of players in the game want to min mod offensive and defensive playstyles. Like they want to push the envelope with pure offense. That's what a lot of people do with the granddad weapon and warriors. They get their boosters and they just get that first round lucky strike 3 times damage effect and basically kill a lot of monsters in the first round. I find that to be mostly kind of boring, but the other thing is maybe you go full defensive. You're using the negative 10% miscs. You're pushing defense down to like 4%, 3%, 2%. You're using baby egg pet to nullify damage completely. You're using panics, you're using Ellie shields, whatever, right? And then you're just tanking them for the fight. But what about armors that are either full offensive, but they have abilities and skills built in that increases their defense, or full defensive armors that have an ability or skill built in that makes them more offensive than other or any other uh, full defensive armor? And so I think that's one of the strong points of spellcaster leans, uh, is that, or even mages, they can utilize their MP for a variety of things. They can use it for offense, they can use it for defense. And so I think that versatility is what makes them so good. You can't quantify mathematically what the MP bar does for a player. So I've actually developed a little bit of a concept for the next summer donation. If there's a mount unmount set again, where one of the modes is a full defensive mode, but all the effects are increasing its ability to do offense. With the idea of um, being able to be very good at both offense and defense, albeit maybe not the absolute best at both. I think there is a niche playstyle that's there that could be had that could turn out very, very, very good. Now, in having said those things, I had bought the Seraphim of Ver armor. This guy here, the one that you see pictured. It's a full defensive armor, as you can see here. Um, the main reason I picked it up was for the Blessed Strike, which is going to be. It was changed from the info subs, so they included the pets and guests in it. The original one said, I think, plus 12, but then they included this. So basically, you get 8.57 for yourself, pets, and guests. So it is maybe the only BTH booster quick cast, and this is quick cast spell or whatever. It's like New Year's Surprise, but weaker, but includes pets and guests, basically, built into the armor. And the art, I think most people would agree the art's pretty sick. So it's a full defensive armor. But if we toggle over to the info subs here, it basically tells you it's going to skip a turn, and then the monster attack is auto hit, and then the next turn it auto attacks, so you don't click any buttons. It's a spell-like skill. Now it's a spell-like skill, which makes it difficult to boost, but so you're gonna have to use spell boosters like a cutlass or something. 3 hits, lock to light. It doesn't say that there's Ellie comp here. However, that might be this times 1.5 multiplicative. The Ellie comp could be 1.5, but it could also be 1.5 because it skipped a turn. Anyway, it's got the times 2 divided by 1.5. I think that ends up to be 1.25 lucky strike damage. So you get heightened damage. And then the part here that's out of the picture says basically it's, let's see, plus 24.7 additive damage. And so it's pretty unique in that it skipped a turn, but then it auto attacks. And so if you're a Beastmaster, you can stack Elevons because your pet's guess will go. And so there's a variety of ways to really increase the attack. So this armor was an example of something that was intriguing. And then in the back of my mind, I thought, well, maybe they'll release some items later that'll really boost it. I haven't really used the armor much because it's there hasn't been a lot of item support. You could use a light cutlass and it does boost the damage a lot. But recently, the Scythe of Serenia magic weapon was released, I think during one of the harvest uh, quests back in November, and it actually boosts the lucky strike rate of all light-based spells and spell-like skills up to 40%. Well, this spell-like attack is 40%, and it has heightened lucky strike damage. So you can do something as simple as a couple of time killers. So hypercrit multiplies base rate. So base rate's 40 now. One time killer is times 2. So you have an 80% lucky strike rate. You just do it one more time. And then from here, just make sure you have enough SP. Get a damaging misc. You could also use Frostveil Crown. I have used it as well. So 2 time killers is 120%. So you'll get with the crown you'll get a 60% rate. If you cast a time killer one more time, that would be what times? Let's see, 4. So you'd have about an 80% rate in Frostveil Crown. So you can do that as well, but this will be 100% rate. So I have a light Elevon, guest, and pet. So basically what we're going to do is now skip my turn. They're going to go get 137% Elevon, and then the skill fires, and then you have a nuke in a full defensive armor. So we could try this again. However, another thing you can do. Alright, so let's go ahead and do this. I'm just going to go ahead and attack with Havarti Blade the first round. Hope that it procs, which it did. So we're going to get 2. So we got 155. Alright, so we have Wishweaver's 116. So now I'm going to break out Infinity Power. Hopefully this actually works. Please work. So now we're at 216 on that. Now I have light protein here. And then now we're going to do the light stacking, but now we have the Omni Elevon. We're going to go ahead and swap to the Scythe. Now, one of the weird things about this ability, if you happen to die on the auto hit attack, the first, as soon as you begin battle, the next battle, it'll fire off for free because you pay for the skill when you first click it. Or if your pets and guests actually defeat the monster and therefore the armor doesn't fire, it does the same thing. The first attack will fire off. So again, we're going to do a couple of time killers. And then we're just going to go ahead and do retribution. So now we're basically 216. I guess the Elevons didn't even take on the light. But as you can see, that's like something like 10,000 damage. I'm going to go ahead and do it one more time. I could end up dying, but I'm just, because the Legion's going to hit me so many times, but I'm just going to do this for a demonstration. Please live. All right, let's see what happens. So as you can see, the damage is quite strong for being a fully defensive armor. The only question I have is, does it actually have Elecomp with it? But nonetheless, the Scythe of Serenia, it'll basically give all your light spells Lucky Strike, much more Lucky Strike damage. But in this case, I have increased Lucky Strike. I mean, it gives increased Lucky Strike rate, but in this case, on that specific armor, it already gets Lucky Strike damage. If they ever release a light spell that has increased Lucky Strike damage, and you partner with this weapon, that's going to probably be insane. But I think there's reason to believe that the Scythe of Serenia will outperform the Arcane Cutlass. You're actually paying for the effect mostly with your hit points rather than decreased weapon damage. So for those that like that kind of thing, there's that. But again, so wanted to show off kind of that combo and kind of talk about some sort of playstyle philosophy. Everything doesn't have to be pure offense or pure defense. You can actually find combos that's actually a mix of the two. I think there's merit to going that route because I think it provides some versatility in how you play, which I think ultimately increases how survivability your character is. But anyway, there you have it. Full defensive armor doing basically 10,000 damage. You can do even more. If I had gotten Frostfell Crown and casted Time Killer one more time, there would have been a chance that single hits could have been like 7,000 and 8,000. But it's not really about the oohs and ahs of seeing the numbers, but just talking about the concept as a whole. But anyway, there you have it. Seraphim of Ver is a Golden Gift Box crossover item. It may return in February. We'll see what happens. But that's it for this video.